Hello, everyone. How are you? Let's see here. Here's a video for you guys. It's a discussion about the still life objects from week one, and I just want to talk about them, give you some pointers, some possible techniques, some things to consider when you're drawing these objects in the future, or just to reflect on the drawings, and also just to see what your classmates are doing. So here we I'm gonna just go through here. Let's see. This is the first page, and these are all just various drawings that your fellow classmates. And I've always felt from my college experience that one of the great benefits of a class is to have the opinion of the hear from the instructor, the professor, but also I learned a lot from noticing, observing my classmates and interacting with classmates and asking them questions and just listening to what they have to say about their artwork and observing and seeing some techniques that they're using. And what's great about it is you just see the beauty of different techniques and creative ways that people use to describe and to observe the world around them. All right. So here, when you look at these drawings, okay, just what are some things uh, that you can just reflect on and just naturally as human beings we tend to judge things very quickly. I like it, I don't like it. It's good, it's not good. But with the class and drawing, the idea of discussion and just listening and observing, ask yourself, you're going to learn some things in terms of why something is the way it is, what makes it, how do you say, a certain way. uh, at this point it's not so much quality, okay. uh, that can be a factor in your motivation. That's totally fine. But I think what's a great attitude or one way to looking at drawing, especially when you're just starting out anything in drawing, and the skill is there's a kind of a nervousness, the idea of judgment or being, how do you say, the idea of perfection. And we want to be perfect. We want to capture, observe and draw things perfectly, which is that can be really frustrating. And it actually might hinder your development as an artist uh, because it's so hard to achieve. It just, I'm 55. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't think for me it's not about so much perfection, but the idea of enjoying the journey and learning different things and experiencing different things and having an open mind. So, looking at these, when we look at the objective of the assignment, what is the purpose? And the purpose is to start drawing things, objects. And you guys did the research on still life objects, and there's so many reasons that people are interested in drawing objects around them. Okay, but on a very basic level, we're just looking at proportion. What is the width, the how wide an object is versus the ratio of width to height. How tall is something and how wide it is. And that seems very simple, but it's such a how do you say, worthy technique or something to try to practice and get better at. And it's okay when you first start to be kind of off the mark. It's like it can be very frustrating. I think proportion might be one of the harder things to learn, and it takes practice and time. And I would just ask you to, how do you say, just explore and practice repeating things over and over again. The more you repeat things in different situations, in different contexts, you just get better at it. You just become, by making mistakes, you learn. So by making mistakes, you learn how to not to repeat those mistakes. And don't get so hard on yourself about making mistakes. Actually embrace them and say, okay, this is an opportunity to move forward or move to the direction of where I want to be. But that's the final destination. But please enjoy the mistakes and enjoy the process of observing and comparing A to B, B to C, and to hone your your observation skills and your sensitivity to objects. Okay, because I think objects in them, of themselves are quite interesting. Uh, I've myself, and I've also heard from students, past students, they said that a class like this, in a way, can help open our eyes to the beauty around us, or the shapes, or the interesting shapes and forms around us that sometimes we take for granted when we're not paying attention. And I guess that goes with writing as well, or math, just knowledge and skills to see the things around us, and we appreciate those things and realize how challenging it is to capture them realistically when we want to. Okay. By the way, this video might be, I don't know how long this video will be, but you have the option. You don't have to watch the whole video. Absolutely not. This video is for you guys. It's for you to just hear my voice and my thoughts. And I certainly have enjoyed listening, seeing your response in the discussions. Those are great. What a diverse group of people we have in our class, and I really appreciate everyone's different backgrounds and their perspectives. So keep participating. But you can scrub through this video, get to more interesting parts if you'd like. I like to take my time, and but that's what's great about videos. You can move forward, go backwards, repeat things over and over again if you want. Also, on that train of thought, when you seek to improve upon your skills, we talked about putting time in, and how much time do you think it takes to improve? We have the benchmarks, we have the requirements for the modules and the assignments, but if you are, want to improve, get better, instead of just doing things just minimally, just get it done, get it out of my way so I can get to other busy things in your life, in our lives. And so was there a formula? And I've heard several different thoughts on this. One is, I think a professor once gave me this formula, shared this formula with me, which was, if you have a class that meets, let's say, 4 hours a week, he said you should be doing at least 4 hours in class and 4 hours out of class. Wow, I was like, holy cow, that's a lot of time. It's some of us have jobs, some of us have families, but he said, "Yep, you just got to do it. It's just something putting in that kind of time during the week. So maybe per day you put in 30 minutes, and that's very challenging, isn't it? 30 minutes a day. I think for me, I think it kind of makes sense because." In order for me to improve upon, learning Korean language or a language, whether it's French or German or Mandarin Chinese, you have to put in, continuously repeated different situations. Try to put in like 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, in between things. Make it fun for yourself. And then you're going to see improvement over several months and then a year. Your vocabulary, once you get to like 2,000 words, you're like doing really well. So with art and drawing, if you wish to improve, you want to develop your portfolio, then it will take investment on your time, like 4 hours a week of focused attention on all of these things we're going to be covering in this class. And there's so many resources in YouTube and Instagram. Don't get overwhelmed. There's a lot of stuff out there, but just take it one technique at a time. Experiment with drawing and embrace imperfect drawings, but work on quantity versus quality in the beginning, and you will see a really nice trajectory of improvement of your skills. This class, I can tell already, we have a lot of people with very different backgrounds with drawing, and be open-minded to, I'll give you individual comments at times, and, consider those. It might help you to improve upon your skills where you want to go. Okay? So that being said, so looking at these two drawings, did they meet the requirements of the assignment? you can just think about it, your answer. You don't have to say it out loud. uh, I think they're great. It's successful. These meet the requirements. But what else do you notice about these drawings? Does anything stand out? You know, drawing is the way of questioning, or really questioning the way we see things. And when we question the way we see things, we break down kind of assumptions or kind of the way we've seen things in the past, and we can see things in a different perspective. And we start by asking questions. Why, what, when, where, how? Why do we see these things the way we do? How do we see them? How do we project them on a piece of paper, a flat two-dimensional piece of paper? So what is one thing that stands out about these two objects? Okay, so I've never seen these objects before, except for maybe the spray bottle. The little toy is kind of interesting. I don't know what the original proportions are, but what stands out for me is how strong the lines are and the size. It's a well-balanced size. They're not tiny little drawings, Sometimes we get so kind of, we treat our drawings like precious little things, and these, they're well composed. They're symmetrical. Holy cow! I struggle with symmetry in drawing. That is not easy. So, this student, the sense of symmetry of a lot of human-made objects, left and right. Look at that. So there's a sense of balance within each object. Yet the layout on the page, it's two objects. The composition, they're not symmetrical. They're asymmetrical. So you should take notes and write these terms down. They're very helpful for you. Symmetry and asymmetry in art, in aesthetics, of what is beautiful and what is not beautiful. And not beautiful things can be interesting just as well as beautiful things. Okay? So of the two objects, which one gets your attention the most? Which one has visual emphasis? Which one is a little more interesting to you? And that could be a subjective thing, your personal bias, or the way you see the world, your culture. It can be determined by many different things. Okay? So these, I think they're both kind of interesting for me. I just really like the detail, the lettering. Notice the line. We did that line project. Those are your basic tools, your kind of expressive ways of communicating shape and form before we get into shading, and it creates structure. So I think these drawings, they have a nice balance of detail, lines, shapes within shapes. They're not overly simple. They have a little bit of complexity. And as we go along, when we talk about perspective, realize this. In drawing, what you're trying to do is to create illusions of three-dimensional objects on a two-dimensional surface. So you heard that. So it's an illusion of three-dimensional objects diagrammed, rendered on a two-dimensional surface. So that can be tough. That's creating this illusion, okay? So one basic fundamental is proportion, height and width. And I'm going to try to make a video for you guys, an extra one. You can look on YouTube as well. The idea of, there's this technique where you take a pencil. Okay, listen carefully. You take a pencil, and some of you might have seen artists do this. They have, let's say, a vase on a table, and it's about 5 feet away. And they have a drawing pad on an easel, and they're staring at the bottle, the vase 5 feet away. Not too close, not too far away. And what they do, the artists, you'll notice this, let's say they're right-handed, and they grab their pencil, they extend their arm straight out towards the vase, okay, with their pencil. And what they do is they align the tip of the pencil vertically to the top of the vase, and then they lower their thumb slowly down the pencil till it meets the bottom of the vase. okay? And then, oh, another thing you have to do is close one eye, okay? Probably your less dominant eye. So I'm going to close my left eye. I'm extending my right arm with the pencil vertically towards the vase, the subject, and I'm lowering my thumb till it hits the bottom of the vase. And then I can take that measurement, bring it over to my paper, and I can draw from a line, a vertical line from the tip of the top of the pencil down to where my thumb has marked the bottom of the vase, and I'm going to draw another little dot, and I'm going to connect those two dots, the top tip of the pencil and where my thumb meets the bottom of the measurement of the vase, and I'll mark that on the piece of paper as well. And that'll give me a line. And that's my height, that's my object. And here's step 2. You extend your arm the same way as before. Close your left, I'm gonna close my left eye, just one eye. And I'm going to hold my pencil sideways, horizontal. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to align the tip of the pencil to the left edge of the vase. And I'm going to use my thumb to move to the right. And I'm going to stop where I see the other side, the right side of the object of the vase. And I'm going to move that pencil and bring it over to the paper. I'm going to overlap that with the previous line, pretty much centered, right? And that gives me that simple basic technique gives me an objective, a tool to be accurate with my proportions. The height, the x height, and the width, the y, x and y. That you might be reminded of algebra. And it's called measuring, sight measuring in drawing, proportion measuring with the pencil in drawing. You can look that up online. And but that is a basic technique, and once you practice this, oh my gosh, you get really good at this very quickly. You're able to adapt this to seeing the basic proportions of objects, of natural objects like trees, and also people, dogs, animals. So it is a very fundamental technique that will really help improve your way of seeing things. If you want to draw accurately. Sometimes we don't want to draw accurately. We want to distort things, okay? That's fine. So here, notice the thickness of the lines here, okay? They're not too light. We're able to see these lines. Sometimes as a beginning drawer, we're just too light with the drawings, and it's just, you want to have some darker lines so that we can actually see the object, and they're not too small. Okay, all right, let's move on here. And practice with these objects over and over again, from different angles, from below, from different sides. These objects were all designed by somebody, created by somebody to achieve its purpose. So a designer and artist has already figured out the proportions of these objects, and we're diagramming them as a starting point. Okay, and possibly this can enhance your ability to design and to create things and to communicate visually with these drawings. Very nice, very nice. What about this one, guys? It's different, isn't it, compared to the previous 2 pages? What do you notice that's different? So the object above, I have no idea what that is. Okay, CAPO, capo. I don't know what that is. Kaiser, it's a brand. I kind of like the lettering too. It has some serifs, little strokes on the end of the letter. Wow. This is a different shape, isn't it? So it kind of breaks up the monotony sometimes of, we do the similar shape over and over again. But this one, the shapes are unique. They're different from what we saw before. Similarities and differences. You're going to see these repeated over and over again. Once we develop our sense of basic shapes and principles, the way you combine these creates such a variety of things that you can draw, and that can be less intimidating. So I invite you to make mistakes and try things and experiment, and we do that by exposure and practice, so it's less intimidating. Okay, it's what I love about art is you know, for a certain way, it's not going to break things. Okay, so what? You make a bad drawing, so what? Just fix it. Now, if you make a bad souffle or a pie, that's bad. It's like you're sad. That's invested time and resources, and you're like, oh, come on. I bet each one of you is really good at something, but one student in our class loves the outdoors and loves fishing. Holy cow. I need to learn how to bass fish from this person because they have experience. They've experienced the good, the bad, the ugly, the trials, the hardships of catching bass. It's not easy. I've tried it. Okay? There's techniques involved. Very nice. Look at that. Look at it. Notice how, anything else you notice about these? Like that top object, notice how it's slowly, barely touching the left page. That gets into composition of objects on a page. Okay, these vertical pages. Objects that are higher on the paper, sometimes in our culture, we may look at them, it's higher is better, hierarchical, more important. Okay? Excellent. Look at that. Just having fun with the expressive marks. You know, it has a feeling of tension, doesn't it? Tension and release. Tension and release. So we have a little bit of opposites, some kind of different organic shapes of the earth, and then sometimes we have geometric shapes. Okay? Man, this person's really neat. Holy cow, very tidy. I'm kind of messy. I smudged the pencil, and I'm not sure what pencil this person used. Did they use a 2B pencil, mechanical pencil? I'm not sure. Oh, by the way, do you know the difference between a 2B pencil and a 4H pencil? So it means that the designation is H means hardness, so that the higher the number, the denser the pencil lead. So your line will become much more refined, but it will be lighter the higher you go. So 6H, 8H, they are very light lines. Engineers or architects or people, they like the more clear, how do you say, very specific, non-messy line. Okay? And then when you go to 2B, 3B, 4B, 6B, 8B, it gets darker, heavier, more smudgier. It gets all over your pencil. You just get a lot of surface covered with those. Okay, I would suggest starting off with a 2B pencil or an HB pencil. It's a great middle ground. Okay, to start off with, and you can experiment with the different pencils if you have them. All right, look at that. I think overall really good proportion, and I really like the time and care that this artist put into their work. You know, that's, again, that goes back to valuing your time in this class and putting in the time and effort. All right, the next one, look at these. I got to tell you something. Taking photographs of drawings, I don't know what it is about pencil graphite lead. It's shiny and it's reflective. So sometimes it's not easy taking pictures of your pencil drawings. Sometimes you can have, if you're lucky, you can have two desk lamps and you can point them at your drawing at a 45 degree or 35 degree angle, and they'll cancel out the reflection. Sometimes if you take your drawings outside on a slightly cloudy day, you can get some really nice photographs as well. Yeah, good job. Good basic proportion. This is a red Solo cup, toothpaste. So the Solo cup, the top of the Solo cup is, we can see the opening. So as it goes towards the bottom, you should narrow it a little bit. That's one suggestion for you. But I think your overall proportion of height and width looks good. Look at the size of that mirror. Excellent. Good job. Much more, a little more fun, more organic. When you start a drawing, where do you start? Do you start in the middle? Do you start on the bottom, move your way up? People have a lot of different techniques. I'm not sure what that, it's a L keychain. Okay. I would suggest a little bit darker line on the keychain at least, just so that it stands out a little bit more. Good job on the remote. Coaster with sister's initials, Lily. Lily Walker is the artist. Good job, Lily. All right. Let's see. You have the shape of the S, but then you have the shape around the S. Positive space, the object itself, the S, which we see, and then the space around it, which is, at this point, we're not doing any shading. The lines are actually telling us the shapes. What is the thing that we should be looking at to identify? It's the symbol, the shape and form. Okay, we bring meaning to these shapes and forms. If we took this to another culture, another culture somewhere, they might be scratching their head going, "What are these things that I'm looking at?" They have not been trained to see or understand the meaning or the purpose of these tools or these shapes and forms. I like the size of these. I think the size works. Yeah, working larger, you tend to have a little bit better idea of shape and form, and be more expressive, a little bit darker lines, a little more detail. Try to notice these details. Okay, slow down, get up close to your object, like these are little mechanical pieces or little details that we don't see initially, but the more we stare at things, you go, "Oh, wow, look at that. It has this line, this opening, this lid." Really like the label. Size looks really good. Good job on the tape dispenser. I think that shapes like these can be a little bit more challenging because of its non-symmetrical characteristics. How it's carved, the contour, the outside of the shape is not a simple geometric shape like a rectangle. It's a little more complex. Those tend to be a little bit tougher. What are you drawn to in these two pieces? And can you make these objects out? They're not too hard, are they? The lettering is good. I think that lettering actually adds interest to the remote control. We will talk about balance and harmony. It's a subjective thing. Do these two objects do they interact with each other harmoniously? Do they have equilibrium from the left side to the right side to the top and the bottom? And that's a skill that designers and artists and people have. They're very sensitive to the space in between objects. And equilibrium is harmony, or just having equal attention. And I think both of these kind of grab our attention equally, just by the position and the angles. The remote can go to the right a little bit more, and I think it'll be more equal, more balanced from left to right of the page. What could you do to make the candle stand out more than the remote control? You could make the lines darker, heavier. Later on, you could put shading or color or texture into those things, and that attracts the eye. Okay, that gets people's attention. So scale, size, contrast, detail, color can attract the eye. You can use those basic techniques to get people's attention. Look at that ball of yarn. Excellent. That is really cool. Look at that movement, the direction of the lines, the rhythm. Yes, good job on the proportion. Maybe a little bit darker. I have no idea what that thing on the bottom left, bottom right is. I think that might be a wallet. Okay, I think. I have no idea. Wow, look at that watch. A lot of personality. The lamp is like an IKEA lamp, maybe. Good job. Has a kind of a 70s vibe for me. It's just, I think it's just the cartoony kind of quality, the roundness, the. Good job, good job. Yeah, the little pop top, soda pop. Well, I grew up in Ohio, so sometimes I call it pop. It's the soda can. Soda can, you have the little pop thing on the top, the lid. Noticing these little differences, the little. Sometimes you can draw reflections. You know, draw the highlights, reflections as shapes. That's something to practice. And also the labels on these cans as well. Good. You can use a ruler if you want. You can use the edge of the ruler if you want to do straight lines. That's totally fine. Some people are using ink pens to outline their shapes, and well done. Look at that. Look at that organic shape, shapes within shapes, and layering of shapes and forms. Yeah. Pretty soon you'll be looking at objects and shapes around you, going, "Oh, I think I should draw that." You know, literally. Sometimes I'm telling you guys, uh, when you get into like art or drawing, you get into photography, it can get kind of addicting sometimes because like you want to be able to turn that off sometimes, that kind of the way we see the world. And it's annoying because you go to the see a movie and you're like, oh man, look at that cool shape there, look at how that's related to that shape, and you're like, you're missing the scene because you're focusing on some random little area or color or transition of the photographer. It's can be annoying sometimes. Look at the detail on the left side of that heart. Right on. These little details. The shirt, the bear. It's a cute little bear. Oh, just randomly, did you know that stuffed animals can be therapeutic? I kind of knew that, but I read a good article recently about even we don't have to give up our stuffed animals, as we grow up. It's a reason to keep our stuffed animals around. Oh man. Look at all these electronics around us. Man, we're just surrounded by electronics. What is that thing on the bottom there? A divot fixer. Ah, golf. Thank you. Thought maybe they were like dog nail clippers or something. Oh, by the way, there's a proper way to use the divot, and I think I've been doing it wrong for the past 20 years. All right, good proportion. Sometimes you can lay an object right on the paper, do a stencil. Is that cheating? Is that cheating, guys? It's it's being, how do you say, creative in your way of interpreting things and coming up with solutions, problem solving. I I don't hate problems, but I don't mind problems, guys. It's being a problem solver and being able to figure out things, whether with words, numbers, pictures, images. It gives us skills that helps us to be of value. Okay, so look at that. Look at that shoe. Is that cool? What's cool about it? Man, it just has a softness of leather. It feels like it's worn in. You didn't generalize the contour. Got the little seams and the details. Right on. This is, I think this is a good example of, sometimes we skip the smaller things around us, like this simple basic screw, these little pencil sharpeners, and, slow down and blow them up. Look at them from different angles. Uh, Find objects that you feel are challenging. Don't just draw the things that you're comfortable with. Like push yourself outside of your comfort zone a little bit. Okay? That's totally fine. I welcome it. You should welcome it. That's how you grow and you realize, okay, I just did something I didn't know how to do before. These new experiences, layered and compounded, gives you, I think, a really healthy awareness, and your helps to promote your open mindedness to be aware of things, around us. The thing about still life and objects, they're really very personal, and we have control of what we put and arrange around us. And some people are maximalists. They love stuff. They collect things. It's like, my gosh, they're not hoarders, but man, they can't get enough of things around them. And some people are a little more minimalist. Just very careful about what they desire to keep. Like because their space is limited, or they just don't want a whole lot of things clutter in their space. What do you notice about this drawing right away? Like, what's different about this one, guys? This is different. It's unique. What is it? It's overlapping. And that overlap is a technique. Write that down. Overlapping objects with flat shapes and forms is a technique to create the illusion of depth. D-E-P-T-H. Depth. The z coordinate, x, y, and z. Height, width, and depth. Things moving away from us. When things move away from us, they become what? They become larger or smaller. Okay. So this overlapping creates the illusion of depth. And in a way, sometimes it can be more engaging with the viewer. You can connect with the viewer with this level of depth, this kind of illusion, tricking the eye. Making something that gets people's attention, which is, in this day and age, holy cow, it's a skill to have, because we are inundated with visual clutter, advertisements, images, animations, videos. Wow. Like, so that's something like, if you are in the goal, like marketing, advertising, business, getting people's attention is such a valuable thing. And to hold their attention is a skill, and it's valuable. Our time, it shows us that overall our time is powerful, it's valuable. It is of value to ourselves and to other people, on a philosophical note. And this drawing I would stay with a little bit more longer, because I think it has that little more uniqueness, more composure, the boldness of the composition of the objects. Okay? Well done. All right, good. I love the egg, by the way. Later on when we do shading, or you can try to shade it yourself, but shading an egg, look how many different shades of gray there are on that egg. Look at that reflection, that little reflection on the shadow area. Beautiful. Look at the tones, the values, the lights, the darks, the different grays within the shadow. It's just not one flat. It's soft. And look how clean the edge is on the right side of the egg. What a beautiful natural object to mimic. And that reminds us that nature has so many things to teach us. I've literally seen, like, I have a new way of appreciating leaves and flowers, because holy cow, you'd be surprised. Drawing leaves can actually help you so much with drawing the human body. It can help you draw the human face. It's a way of the simplicity of the leaf shape and the egg shape and organic shapes that really connect with, the realism of drawing the human body. Good job. All right. Ooh, I like how the pencil on the top right is leaning over the paper. That we just talked about that overlapping. It really makes this a little more engaging page. Right on. What is that thing on the bottom? Cologne bottle. Okay. Oh, here's a technique, guys. Technique alert. Here's a tip. Write this down. So if you ever want something to be more symmetrical, or an aid to help you with an object to be more symmetrical, draw a line right down the middle of your shape. That's the line of symmetry. Well, that's what I call it. This line of symmetry will give you a reference point from the center. So on the left side of that to the right side, it helps you to visually balance out your shapes and forms. So that cologne bottle, if you draw a line down the middle, very middle of this, you notice, oh, the left curve on the top is not the same on the other side. It needs to be a little bit wider on the side, more tapered, more angled, okay? So later on, when it comes to drawing the human face or the human body standing, this idea of symmetry, this simple technique of a line with a ruler, or if you're good at creating straight lines just with your hand, it's so helpful. Okay, very helpful. One other tip for you guys for symmetry. This is a little added tip. If you're ever working on images or digital artwork, digital drawings, digital paintings, Photoshop, Procreate, you'll notice on videos of very experienced drawers, they flip the image left, right, left, back and forth, and that actually helps to give the brain just a slight variation, a different way of seeing the perspective of the what they're drawing, and it helps them to just change things ever so slightly. Say, oh, okay, this ear can be moved just a little bit here. This eye can be shifted, angled, or moved this direction, and it makes it better for them. It makes it better for the project or what they're trying to achieve. All right, so there's a few tips for you. Overall, I'm really happy with your overall drawing, guys. Notice here, this person on the top left, look how vague and kind of light that shading, like blended down with a napkin or something. That is a technique, by the way. Some people have a difficulty drawing with just pure lines. They need to see variations in contrast of light and dark, and I'm all for that. If you feel like that's what you need to do, that's fine. If you want to just stick with lines, that's fine. The human retina, R-E-T-I-N-A. What is a human retina? So look it up. Look up. The human eye has different receptors, cells that are sensitive to colors, RGB, red, green, and blue, light. It also has a separate group of sensors, cells, that are very sensitive to light and dark. And what do you think, the human eye, which aspect, I mean, they're both important, but one that sees the light and the dark, okay, the rods, okay, RODS, versus the cones that sees color. These receptors, of the two, which one do you think the human eye has more of? 10 times more. Look it up. Go to Wikipedia. Try to find the answer to that. Look at that fork. Holy cow. Can this person actually tell us? I wish they could speak to us and say, this is how I drew this fork, because I find tools and forks to be very hard to draw. It's, and this, very well done. And look at the contrast with the lemon. The lemon is kind of mushy, it's asymmetric, but the sensitivity to the line, we don't, not just generalizing it, but slowing down, putting a little detail into it, that contour, that kind of phasing in and out the line, the darkness, has variations within the line. It's just not one simple line. There's a tension, there's a push and pull with the line. that after you keep drawing and drawing, you're just able to bring out that note. So some of you are musicians. Remember the first time you learned the piano, the drums, percussion, string, whatever instrument, woodwind, wind instruments. The first time that you learn the basic notes, they're very harsh and very, it's kind of static and simple notes. But as you practice, you can draw out each note, slight variations. They have personality, and so that's a metaphor that I'll use with these beginning drawings. You'll notice these in the different the notes that the different artists strike. Okay. Does this person use a? Do they even use an eraser? Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. Right on, man. That looks like a sock right there. Look at that. That sock needs. It's done. It's ready for the washer. This could be one technique is make sure you have a sharp pencil. I like to use an X-Acto knife to whittle my pencil, but some of you have your pencil sharp, and that's fine. Here's another tip, guys. I was using the pencil sharpener, I think wrong for like 10 years, and I saw this video of this older person, and they go, so this is how you sharpen your colored pencil. And what this person did was they didn't turn the pencil in the sharpener. They actually turned the sharpener and held the colored pencil straight still. And my mind was blown because that actually prevented the colored pencil from the colored pencil from breaking the tip because I was using too much pressure. So go ahead and try it. See if that works for you. Right on. Look at that cute little toddler's fork. Soft and utilitarian. Yeah, so experiment. Good job on overall proportion. Work on experimenting with your thick and thin of your lines. Uh, Go overboard sometimes. Look at that strange, interesting shape, the screen base. Look at that. It's kind of an abstract quality to it. Uh, Look at that contrast of those angles of the base versus the rectangle of the screen. And the screen actually has perspective. The lines are not parallel from left and right. That means the screen almost feels like it's moving away from us because it's getting narrower. Touche. Look at that plant. Yep. You guys like the plant? Do you think that's of interest? Look at that. Look at the little eddies. Look at the leaves, the variations. Look at that rhythm. You guys have rhythm? You do repeated notes. Look at the repeated leaves here. Yeah. Right on. I would spend a little bit more on the spirals of this drawing of the notepad. Again, the geometric shape's good. Try to create variety with non-geometric shapes. I don't know what an object that would be difficult for you, but certainly by challenging yourself, like give that expectation of taking risks in this class with the drawings, pushing yourself to do things that are just be unique. That's something to look forward to too. All right. Bring out your personality. Try to, as an example, bass fishing. What are some interesting objects of bass fishing? I think the reels are beautiful. Uh, I once saw a reel that I had from the 1970s. It was really cool. The design had that kind of a 60s, early 70s aesthetic. Just the engineering. but it was complex. A lot of parts. Good job. I like the size of these. Look at that. They're intimidating. Man. Good job. Bananas are not easy to draw. Man, the size of these are really nice. So, what could make the card a little bit more, playing card a little bit more interesting? You could possibly bend the corner, maybe put it at an angle, overlap something possibly. Maybe have one card overlapping another card. Good job on the toilet paper. Yep. Basic shape, a cylinder. Basic foundational things lead to complexity. These are these assignments are doable, and they lead to more complexity as we move along. One module can build a foundation for the next module, and they tie into each other. So start to see the relationship of these modules and exercises, the purpose. Interesting Rubik's Cube. Look at that. Just the lines. It's almost has it's like a visual illusion. What is that on the bottom right? I think, oh, that's candy, I think. Right on. Look at that water bottle. Look at that computer. Absolutely excellent. Look at that. Went bold. I think the mug here, well done. And what's challenging about the mug? It's the handle. God, the handles are tough, man. It's the negative space in between. It's like an ear, isn't it? Like a human ear. Oh man. Do not be afraid of pushing yourself and making mistakes. Absolutely, just try to push yourself. Have fun. Make it fun for yourself. I don't know how you make your fun for yourself. Like I like to turn on music. You like to maybe draw with friends that can make it fun, enjoyable. Look at that, guys. Look at the reflections as shapes. Holy cow! Fake plant. Look at that. Very nice. Well, what's nice about it, Mr. Yi? Well, what's nice about it is look at the contours, look at the rhythm, look at the expressiveness from the center. Uh, and if your goal is to match the original, I think this does a good job and it gets your attention and it's unique from what other people have drawn. So for this, this student, I'm thinking, okay, what are they looking for? How would they want to improve upon their skills? Because, you can see they have skills in proportion, shading, like a boldness of lines. And that's something where you need communication with your fellow classmate or student. Like, okay, let us know what is something that you want to get better at. Next would be, was it symbolism, more complexity with having more expressive compositions. So you take an idea of time as a subject. How can you explore that and make that more interesting for yourself? Because I think here this demonstrates a really solid understanding of fundamentals and proportions and shapes and right on. This person has a sense of humor. That is a funny little object. I'm laughing inside. It's literally has a ducky face. Okay. Very nice. Good. I think glasses are hard to draw too. Just the symmetry and just the weird shapes and contours. Good observation. Sometimes drawing can be tedious. It's like walking on the treadmill sometimes, but there's a purpose, and the more you do it, it's like it just kind of gets ingrained in you. It just heightens your skills. And I think drawing, it should be available to anybody. It's like as fundamental as letters, writing, speaking, numbers. I mean, it's such a cool tool to have. It's like an app on your phone. Like, can you imagine not having an app that you really need every once in a while, right? Like your maps or something. That would be horrible. I love my map app. So having the drawing app in your brain loaded up, you're like, okay, this is going to help me figure out things. I think these are digital drawings. Like, I don't know what you're using, Krita or Procreate. I think the proportions look really good. I just would ask that you make them larger, just so that we can, really enjoy the detail and see them. See, look at that. So much better. Look at the beauty of those little details that you captured. So if you can make them larger, I think that would be helpful. The power of the white space, the negative space around these. Look how powerful that is. It just really focuses your eyes onto these simple little objects. It's like an advertisement technique. What do these two objects have in common, guys? It's advertising. There's this job title. They're called copywriters. They write the words to advertisement marketing material. What word would you put underneath these two objects? My gosh, these are like little comic books or illustrations. Like they have meaning. What is the meaning behind this? Don't smoke bananas. Okay. What's the meaning behind this one? Oh, if you overlap the character onto the label, there you go. You just created a new soda drink. This one, I have no idea. Can you come up with something interesting? What's the connection between these two things, guys? All right. Man, this video is really long, but I hope this has been helpful for you guys. And you know what? One of the greatest lessons I learned from school is the idea of critique from, gathering in the classroom, which we can't do, but we're in the virtual classroom. But to be able to share our thoughts and ideas about these aspects of drawing, okay, and to hear, what's the logic, what's the purpose of these techniques and things, and as you accrue these little techniques and tips, they just make you much more confident in your drawing. So hopefully you do enjoy or see the value in listening to Mr. Yi talk about these things, and later on, these discussions, the way you communicate about your art through your drawings, your paintings, your graphic design, your illustrations, your photography. I hope it has been of benefit to you. It's been helpful, and that you can pick up on these things to improve your drawings. Which image gets your attention? For me, it's that center object here. What is that? A radish? It's like a cat toy, right? Right on. That is a funky looking object. Gnarly. That seltzer bottle looks like it's kind of moving. It could be the torso of a person. Well, that little hourglass is, I think it's a hint that we need to wrap this up. Good drawings. Good job. Excellent. So we're going to wrap it up for today. Keep working on your drawings, and remember, what is one or two key points you got from this video? And I think for me, reflecting back to the beginning, which is the idea of respect your time and what you're trying to achieve, and push yourself in a healthy way, not towards perfection, by putting time and effort to your goals of improving your drawing skills, your art skills. Okay? All right. Keep a lookout. I'm going to work on that video about, drawing sight lining, proportions, left height and width of objects. Okay? And I'm going to try my best. Okay? So just bear with me. And good luck on your drawings. And I hope you're enjoying your drawings. And be creative, be yourself, bring your personality to your drawings, and have a beautiful evening. And I'll talk to you guys later. All right? Bye-bye.